but got taken out due to play testing.
It took too long. So 90 seconds was supposed to be an average game time. And I think that wave, if you played it well, would take about 3 minutes. So that was just like, no, that was gone.
And quarters. And at the time, that was the 4th space level. So it was every 4 waves you'd go through that.
The graphic of the Star Castle is still on the left side, on the what I call the tactical scanner. When you start, that's what moves into the ship position. You can see with this, has the shields around and everything. We never took that out. We just were told we couldn't do it. So.
And you put a big red bar in front of it, dropped red bars instead.
So the red bars were programmed because they were the shields. When you hit a shield and it came off, it would fall. So that's what those red bars are you see in the 4th level. And if you actually look at the spaceship that's used, there's yellow dots around it. There are gun ports on that. So that version was going to kind of rocked back and forth and fired like Star Castle anytime it could see you. And if you took all the shields out, it would just put them right back.
So those were the big drivers. Around that, then we wanted to modernize the game, obviously, because we're not playing games in arcades really much anymore. Everybody has these at home, playing on MAME with a good joystick setup or controller setup, like Jerky, who can amaze us all with Major Havoc, but still out-design himself up here.
I still can't get through all those.
But with that, we wanted to put the speech back in there. Speech was in here with some modifications, but software was never written.
We never expected, I think it was added there to test it, but we never expected to have speech.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was put on that board. I never intended to use it.
And if you read Jed Marglin's website on the Atari email VAX archives, there's a great conversation in there about the selection process of speech chips and TI versus the Voltrax ones, etc., and the choices and the TI pass system, which is really fun stuff for me to read. But it was interesting that it was on here and almost ready to go. So, but we just had to lift the code from Return of the Jedi and put it in here basically for the speech, and it worked flawlessly. So doing some things like that, new levels would be a great thing, and getting something more complex, and we'll talk about that here in a bit. But those were really our drivers for everything, getting it modernized and a deeper rule set so that it could be playable at home, etc. We're about 90% done, I would say, until we change the scope again. But it just means more features, so we'll see. A little preview on the Star Castle. As Owen said, theirs was very similar. It was a 6-sided ship with 3 guns. Instead of putting it every 3 levels or every 4 levels, we put it at the very end before the final space station battle. And so now we also took, I guess, Owen's nemesis of the VAX mainframe at work, and we turned that into the Vaxian home ship. Scott came up with that idea and provided me a good picture of a VAX.
It's brilliant.
Which we vectorized.
We have to add the extra X then.
Yeah. So it's a prototype still, so we'll get there. And so, and it wanders around. It's got semi-hidden vectors through hacking, not actual hidden vectors, because we don't have the CPU for that anyway whatsoever. And but so we got that in there as the goal. It's a little bit different than Owen's original concept of having a rotating ship with guns. It just goes around. The shields rotate in this one, and they fall away, and then the bars come down, etc. And you can play that if you jump in the demo mode to level 21. That's where the Star Castle battle begins, and you go into the final space station battle. So the game out here is in demo mode for that purpose, and those are in the books. Level 21 is the beginning. What's next here? Yeah, let's talk about this. Okay, so 8 new levels. I'm going to switch over a little bit. So we said, great, a bunch of new levels. I don't know, how did you guys design that? I mean, you're clearly just putting bytes, or you're making drawings on paper.
Graph paper.
Yeah.
This was done on paper.
And then you were figuring out, well, that's position 8B, so update that in source code.
All designed by hand.
Yep.
Which is why it's not real complex.
Right. So we wanted to make it really complex, apparently. So.
Well, I mean, nothing bounces like this, which we really wanted to do. Like, things would bounce out of the maze.
So what we did basically is we designed a level. because that's what anybody can do, right? So I did this a long time ago. It was really crappy. It didn't work. It crashed a lot. It didn't generate good mazes, etc. And in this project, then that's where Brian came along. I was like, "Hey, Brian, you know how to code. You want to work in the level editor?" And he was like, "Sure." And I said, "That would be great." And so Brian spent a lot of time getting the code cleaned up and getting this ready. So now we basically have a nice UI so that you can take a base maze. This is actually just the ROMs that we have right now in the promised end. And it's basically drag and drop. You can drag things out, etc., move them around, get rid of them, edit their properties. And Brian took that on and brought it to sort of where it is today, where it's stable, knocking on wood, and working pretty good. Brian, what do you think? You want to talk about that a little bit?
It does pretty well. So ideally, the goal was, of course, is just saying allow you to make mazes. But fundamentally, as we've, and Dave has proven this, there's a lot to do in making a maze. You can throw a lot of things on there. But once you start playing it, you start to realize that the interaction can burn hours. Just trying to understand all that. So fundamentally, the editor starts up. It gives you the ability to actually load levels from existing ROM images. So if you, say, got home, wanted to start with the levels that exist in, that we have in the machine here in CAX, you can upload those into a collection and start building out from there, make changes, adjust things, move them around, that kind of thing. You can start from scratch. You can save individual levels. You can save collections and share them. They're zipped up, effectively compressed XML files that we deliver back and forth. We use this tool to design the levels, to test the code, to test the system, and so fundamentally we're bootstrapping ourselves with this. There's still a lot to be done. There's feedback that Dave's given me. If you were to download it from the website right now, it gives you a lot of options. I've been doing a lot of stuff in a branch. We opted in order to keep our sanity and get things in a stable state here. I stopped adding feature content to the mainstream maybe a month ago. And so there's been stuff going on in the background. So hopefully in short order afterwards we'll add some more stuff. But you can click on an ion cannon and give them, so you can edit ion cannon programs. And there's ways to save ion cannon programs into subroutines and things like that, so you can build little pieces of motion. You can move things around. You can it's delete, add, rename.
And don't pay attention to these things floating out in space.
Yeah, there's some stuff floating out in space in order to make things work right now, but we'll get there. And I could talk for a while about this. I think you'd be better off pulling it down and playing with it.
Yeah, so talk to Brian afterwards if you want to play this or use this. We'll give you the website where you can download this. The end goal of this as well, which is probably the most interesting for all you folks, is that you can actually download the level editor, and using the promised end ROMs with a main driver, you can design your own levels and literally just publish a ROM set with your levels in it. It'll be a full production version of Havoc. As long as you don't do something really weird, which Dave will probably maybe talk about here.
We'll go ahead and do something weird.
Big asterisks around that. But so anyway, I think that's pretty cool, and I think makes it fun, because you can literally just, if you have a Havoc game at home, you can make your own levels. You can put your own hints at the top, everything.
Yeah, it's on GitHub, so if you guys download it, you start running into issues, that's how you can give us feedback and we can try and take care of those.
There is a bug that remains in the game on the corner